Greetings, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my girlfriend, my shero, Honeycomb, author Tawana Petty. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great, great. It is so good to finally sit with you on the show to talk about all the things that you do. I'm excited to have you. I thank you for taking the day out of your busy schedule, and when I say that, you know, I truly mean your busy schedule. So today we're going to talk a little bit about you, Tawana. You're an organizer, an activist, an author, a speaker, a poet. Most of all, you're a child of God and a mother. So tell me where the name Honeycomb comes from, because that's what you use in your spoken word, right?
Right, absolutely. A friend of mine thought it would be a cute nickname for me. He said that I had a sweet personality, and then I was honeycomb complected. Okay. So, and I was just going by Tawana as a poetry name, and it wasn't really catchy. Right. So I adopted that name decades ago, and it stuck with me. Okay, well, honeycomb is very fitting and becoming, and especially when you bring it into those terms, I can understand, you know, how it stuck with you, because sweet you really are. You have a truly sweet spirit about you. You have a your spirit is sweet and it's kind of catchy. So when I look at honeycomb, I see all the bees that are attracted to it, you know. So the powers that be are attracted to you for all that you do, the things that you do. I follow you on Facebook, you know, but I also sat with you briefly on the board with Just Speak, Incorporated. I, more than anything, you know, I see everything that you do, and you do a lot of things for the community. You're more like an activist first. I think, you know, it's like power to the people. Okay, you like my Angela Davis. Okay, I'm wearing her earrings, by the way.
Exactly. When what I really like about you is that you give information and not your opinion. You know, you bring a lot of information to the people. You know, you're at the city council meetings. You're telling people, hey, read this information, know it for yourself. You know, just don't be fooled by what you hear, by what you see.
Absolutely.
How did you become this activist? How did you get out into before the people and become their voice?
Well, it was one of those things where you know how they say, well, actually I said it because I wrote it, but that every trial is a testimony in progress. And so I've been through a lot of trials in my life, and I've experienced some things that I would rather not see other people have to endure, if I can help it. So I try to give information, resources, organize different community initiatives, and provide for most of all youth, but women in particular, because there are a lot of things that are attacking our rights and things that we should be entitled to, you know, like a voice for our bodies, our own bodies, and things like that. And so, and especially in the African American community, there is a lot of things that don't get addressed, and there are a lot of things that we don't know about that can assist us with, like domestic violence, sexual assault, even just basic needs like clean water, education, things like that. So having been through some of the experiences that I've been through, I try to be proactive, I guess, in a sense, for the community. And so that drives me a lot.
Well, that's good, and I too am really an advocate for women, especially domestic violence. I was a domestic violence advocate years ago, always will be a domestic violence advocate, but I was more active in going out when I lived in Okemos, Michigan, working with the Lansing Police Department, you know, carrying a pager, going out, meeting them at the hospitals or homes or wherever their need was, just being there for them, because a lot of times when you're in a domestic relationship or abusive relationship, your family's kind of giving up on on you because you stayed there. You know, they want to know, why don't you leave? And you don't have anybody to hear your voice. Nobody is there to, you know, kind of support you. And so it's very important that we support women that are going through until they get over, you know, what it is that they're going through. Because there is life after, you know, but they have to, you know that the help comes from within. You know, there are a lot of people out here that are willing to help them, but it starts with them first, you know. So them loving themselves, them caring more about themselves than they care about that abusive relationship. It'll help them get that power that they need to move forward, you know. And I know for a fact that I have a young lady who was in a very abusive relationship, and her husband just, you know, he changed. But what it was is that he went to school, he has a job. Now he's feeling more of a man, he's taking care of his family. So sometimes you have to find the underlying issue as to why people do what they do. So, you know, I definitely, I follow you. That's why I say I see you do so many different things, you know. I mean, even just in the community as well as not, you know, just the domestic violence. Like for the city of Detroit, you know, I see you at those meetings, you know, they're listening to what they're saying. So, you know, what's going on, you know, with the city? What do you think about that?
Well, what's not going on with the city? Detroit is under attack right now by the government. And it, you know, from the resources, like I said, the air, the water, the educational system, a lot of people are looking at Detroit as like this place that's falling apart, that's just filled with hopelessness and helplessness, and no one can, you know, maintain their livelihoods or secure or take care of their own property, and no one cares about their children. And so there's a big black eye on Detroit. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of powers that be see the resources that are in Detroit, and they see the opportunity that lies there, and they see the community gardens, and they see people coming off the grid and building windmills and not having to rely on DTE for electricity and things like that. And so they want to tap into that, you know, and they see Belle Isle, and they see the riverfront, and they see, you know, all this land, this vast amount of land that's in Detroit. And so because we have accepted the fact that we've been beaten down, and that, you know, and we sometimes accept what the media tells us about ourselves, we allow outsiders to come in and take what we can build up ourselves. So it's just one of those things where I feel like I have to be at the forefront of helping us to hold on. And I think that's a great thing too. And as I look, I haven't, you know, I keep saying that I really want to get involved, but the one thing being on the outside looking in, what I would like to see us do as a people is really come together, come together more, you know, voice our opinions in a way where we're not attacking, where we are being heard, you know, that not we're just being so loud that, you know, everybody takes a negative stance to what we're doing. You know, definitely we have to be passionate about our city. You know, we should be passionate about it, but there's a way to do things in love. You know, even with tough love, I think you need to love tough. You know, love needs to come first, you know. So if we do it in love, I think people will hear more what we're saying. We will look like people who are really trying to make a difference, not people who are trying to, you know, make an attack. That's just Barb's opinion, you know. You're right, and that's why to clarify outsiders, that doesn't mean people who don't live in the city of Detroit, because the Detroiters need everyone, I mean Metro Detroit, to be on one accord, for everyone to unite. More so that means people that are detached from the reality that Detroiters are going through, and the only answer is to X out what is and replace it with something new, when it really should be to help build up and nurture what's already there, and you know, restore that faith and hope into the people.
That's definitely what needs to be done. Is we need to restore faith and hope, but it starts with each one of us individually. Nobody's coming in to save us. You know, we have to have that mentality. What can I do? You know, because every little bit helps, you know. So if I keep my neighborhood, you know, first my yard, you know, then maybe my neighbor who's not able to do it, you know, or the O'Shea Recreation Center where, you know, they've abandoned it, you know, if we can just clean up our own neighborhoods. As I drive down the city on my way this morning, I just have to pray over the city, because it is devastating sometimes to me, you know, but I still have hope, you know, I still believe, you know, because it may look bad on the outside, but when I walk into my home, it's a home of peace, a home of love, you know, so I can't give up on that, you know. So I'm really, I'm glad that you're out there advocating on my behalf. I know that, you know, my voice will be heard through you. You have a voice. You are not going to speak wrongly, you know, of any situation. You listen, you hear, you research. You are a researcher by nature.
I absolutely am.
You know, so I'm grateful for that. I thank God for you, you know, being on the forefront, and I just pray that you do not get weary in well doing. You know, I know you juggle a lot of different things, and you know, sometimes it's hard. You know, sometimes people may say this or people may say that, but if you just keep your eye on what God has called you to do, I know that everything, you know, will be okay. I know that it will be okay. So let's talk about a little bit about being a poet. You know, did this start for you at a young age, and did it come out of a place, you know, where maybe, you know, some things had happened for you, or just did you open up the book and say, Mary had a little lamb like that, and start to write? How did that happen?
Well, I started writing poetry in about 2nd grade. Okay. And I was published for the first time in 3rd grade. All right. And a teacher actually pulled me to the side and told me that I was going to use my voice to change the world someday. And I was 7 years old. Okay. And so that has always stuck with me. So in growing up, Langston Hughes was my favorite poet. All right. So I've always had like this knack for being able to, you know, vocalize what was on my mind. Like I was a little activist in school. I mean, if I could rally the students up against the teacher if I felt that, you know, the lesson wasn't appropriate, or vice versa. So I've always kind of had that voice, and it has sustained me through some very, you know, challenging times in my life. Writing is very therapeutic for me. Great, great, great.
So. You know, I was at Shaka's event last night, so when he's talking about righting his wrongs, you know, and I read the book. I have not completed it because someone took it from me, finished the book, and then just gave it back to me. But we won't call any names on the camera over here. But, you know, I just really, I believe, you know, I'm trying to write a book. I will complete it, and it's called Life After the Crack of Dawn, you know, so I understand how, you know, hard it is to write sometimes. You know, sometimes people, once you get that finished product, it's like, oh, wow. But going through the process, you know, it's like, it's challenging. It's very challenging. So, you know, I applaud you for that. So you're, what I wanted to know is the teacher who spoke to you and said that do you keep in contact? Is that teacher still around? Do you know?
Yeah, I actually ran into her. I was protesting. I hadn't seen her since 3rd grade, right? And so I had just did a interview for Shetroyd, and I had spoke about this teacher. And I said, you know, she had this plaque on her wall that said, and I never forgot that quote. It said, a friendship develops at the moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." And so I always carried that quote with me. And so I spoke of her. Now, I hadn't seen her since 3rd grade. I'm out protesting at a gas station because a young man was shot by the owner. And she walks past with a picket sign. Wow. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, so we ran up to each other. She recognized me, which, you know, oddly enough, I don't look anything like I did when I was little. But she's doing the same thing in the community. And I always feel that she had like a huge hand in, you know, my development. Just based on things that she was able to do during that 1 year that she was my teacher. So that's great. I was great. I'm very grateful that I had quite a few teachers who put that kind of impact on me when I was growing up.
Good. Did you go to the Detroit public schools when you were growing up? Yes. So the good things are coming out of Detroit then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Really good things are happening in Detroit, and I'm really excited, and I want to be a part of the change, you know, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the recovery, you know. I know there is a shift. It's happening right now, you know. It is. And so God is strategically placing people in place that are going to do great and wonderful things. So I'm really excited about that. And I really want to talk about something that I know it's probably your greatest accomplishment and achievement, and that's your son.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I'm thinking, like, I see this young man, and so you're raising him up in the way to go. You're a single mother?
Yes.
Tell me how you do it, because not only is he intelligent, you know, doing the debates and going all over, but I mean, he just, I like this is what I like. The other day, you say you stopped, a lady was on the road, you know, and he said, well, Mom, how did you know that it was okay to help this lady? And you said that you didn't know, you know, it was a feeling, but if you were out there, you would want someone to help you, and he was like, good answer. You know, that's good, good enough answer.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Tell me a little bit about him.
Well, I have been blessed to have a brilliant 17-year-old. He's 17 now. He just turned 17. And he's an honor student at Cass Tech. He's in honors English, math. He's a great debater for the Detroit Urban Debate League.
All right.
He is a youth organizer for Young Educators Alliance, and he is a youth organizer for the North End Community Coalition, which tackles transit justice issues. So he's very, very centered, well-rounded, and respectful. And the thing that makes me most proud is that I can send him anywhere and not worry about what people are going to report back to me about him. And so I'm really blessed. He has a mind of his own. He has his own agendas. And so it's very comforting to have been blessed with that. I couldn't have did that without God, because there's been some challenges, and without my family, family support, because although I am a single mother, it does take a village,
most definitely,
to raise a child. So I've been blessed to have a brilliant son. His name is Tyree. There is a portrait of him. There's a painting has been done of him, and it's at the U of M Detroit Center on Woodward, and it'll be there till March. Sawyer was the artist for that.
I saw his portrait, and I hooked up with Ty on Facebook.
Did
you know, as a result of seeing this portrait so lifelike. So as he was standing there, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, wow, this young man, you know, I just through you, you know, kind of feel like I know him a little bit, you know, just like you came here. Tell me the word again, because your conversations with him sometimes are just like mind blowing to me. Like, what is that word? What is the word he gave?
Me too. He gets in the car after school one day and he goes, Mom, I found a lexical gap in the English language. And I went, huh? He said, oh, never mind, Mom. You know, half the time he's just like, oh, it's above you. You know, some other day I'll tell you.
So you said lexical gap. I'm Googling, you know, so it's like, okay, there's not a word in another language.
And he created, not only did he find the gap, he created a word to fill it. That's a whole nother...
Wow, that's really deep. But I mean, that's truly a blessing. And as you look at things that are happening now in this day, at this time, you know, for you to be blessed with a young man, you know, family, friends, but more importantly, you know, you as his mom, you know, all the struggles and things that you went through, you know, you stay focused, and you know, so that is an attestament to you as well, to raise them. You know, they say a woman can't raise a man, but you are doing a good job of raising. They do. They do. You've done a, you know, excellent job. I'm just proud, as if, you know, I could share in, you know,
your. You can, please do.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I have my step granddaughter is going to Cass Tech as well, and her dad posted the other day that I think she had a 3.7 or whatever, but she was not mad, but a little disappointed, because she said, Dad, I know I could do better, you know. So I told him, I said, well, give her $50. Tell her when she get that 4.0 every time, you know, I'll send her 100, you know. So I'm not trying to buy her, you know, but I want to encourage her.
And then young people need money nowadays. I mean, it's not... any little bit helps. Send my son.
I know, that's right. Girl, I probably had to give him 200. Right. He's doing so much. He is so great. But you know, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I definitely would like to meet him.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
I definitely would like to meet him, and just you know, hey, he maybe he'll come on the show, you know, maybe I can,
yeah.
but this will be a show that I'm sure I'll have to script. Everything else I do by flow, okay? But he'll probably tell me something that's over my head, so I'm gonna make him tell me what he's gonna say.
Right.
We'll script our show, you know, because he won't get on here with a lexical gap for me.
Right. Yeah, I've been caught off guard plenty of times.
Creating words. So of all the things you do, I mean, and you are doing so many things. Tell me just kind of like, what is the most important thing for you?
The most important, you know, other than we just talked about raising my son, the most important thing to me is the things that I do and we do that are not in the spotlight. Okay. You know, I do a lot of mentoring, community organizing, performing, speaking, traveling, things like that. But it's those moments when I'm in the car by myself and I keep gloves and hats and scarves and things in my car, and I pass them out to random people. And I try to push that for everyone to do. You know, because it doesn't take an organization. It doesn't take you know, a lot of money. If you have $5 to spare, go to the dollar store, get some gloves, get a scarf, get a hat. And there is always going to be someone who's out living in the elements. If it's not wintertime, get an umbrella. You know, if it's raining, just anything. So it's those things that you can do when no one's looking that, you know, keeps you in tune with God and what God wants, how God wants us to treat each other. That make me most proud of having. And I always say, God, thank you for giving me this kind of heart, because it does fulfill you and it does keep you going, you know.
And you definitely know when you do things like that, it's definitely God's heart.
Yeah.
It's definitely God's heart.
Too.
You definitely feel it, man. Okay, we don't want to get me crying on the show, but it's definitely God's heart. So what I want to ask you to do right now, because there's some young girl that's out here that, you know, has probably been told that she's nothing, she won't be anything, probably is going through something, you know, thinking that she needs some guy, you know, to make her whole or make her complete and happy. There's somebody that is struggling, you know, because they, you know, they just don't see their way through the fire that they're going through right now. I want you to look into the camera and just speak to some young girl, some young guy, and, you know, just share with them what's on your heart right now.
I have been that young girl, that young person, even into my early adult years, who felt that I wasn't sufficient, that things were never going to get better, that I was never going to fulfill what God has planned for me in my life. But that is absolutely false. The biggest block that we have to fulfilling our destiny is ourselves. And the minute that you remove that out of your head and you start to call into fruition the things that you are able to do, and you make a positive statement to yourself, you tell yourself every morning, today is going to be so much better than yesterday. And I don't care how brilliant yesterday was, tomorrow is going to be even better. And you tell yourself that, and the minute that you begin to believe, those things come into play. No one can take from you your dignity and respect unless you allow them to take it from you. So you have to believe that God did not put us on this earth to make us suffer and to make us feel that we were beneath anyone and that we were low. We are all made in His vision. We are all equal. We are all destined for greatness, and we just have to call it into existence. And the minute that you believe, it'll start to play out for you. So you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to call it for yourself and make it happen. And don't be afraid to get on your knees and pray. It's always somebody listening.
Amen. And I truly believe that. So let's talk about a little about what you do. You know, in your professional life, you work for the organization that you work for about the organizing food. Tell me a little bit about that.
I work part-time for CHIRP, which is the Child Health Incubator Research Project. And what it does is it researches food deserts and areas that don't have like recreation centers, and in urban communities that impact childhood obesity ages 2 to 8.
Okay.
And so what we do is we have different partners that we work with that have different programs and initiatives to help create those types of things for those youth that wouldn't experience it if they didn't create it.
Okay.
And so we see over a period of 5 years if that has any impact on the child's health and safety and different things like that. So it's a USDA funded grant, and it is it's very powerful because some of the partners that we work with, like East Michigan Environmental Action Council, Catherine Ferguson Academy, Detroit Black Community Food Security Network, Feed 'em Freedom Growers, People's Kitchen Detroit, like these are all amazing Earthworks, amazing organizations in Detroit that are, growing their own food, teaching kids to grow their own food, teaching them what it means to dissect the media images that tell you that, the fast food burger is better than the broccoli.
Okay.
So it takes it from the root, and it teaches them how to think for themselves and how to grow and become self-sufficient and things like that. So
that's powerful. I friended a young lady, Michelle Jackson, and she does have the urban gardens, over on the east side, and she's working with the children and teaching them those things as well. But I went out with her and walked through the garden, and she was talking about compost and the things that they use, and it's like she kept saying about the paper and the plastic that you could break down, and I'm like trying to get in my mind, I'm a city girl, and I'm guilty of McDonald's, and
I am too.
You see all of that, but just the thought of it. I remember when O'Shea Recreation Center was open, and they had an urban garden over there to grow the corn. And as a matter of fact, my home that I own, I had purchased it from a elderly Polish lady. She was my neighbor. She passed away in the home, and I moved next door into that home. Her son gave it to me, but she had a garden every year. She would come knock on the door with her cane and, "Here, Missy," she had the beautiful onions and peppers and different things. And I made a promise, when I got that home, that Miss Rose, I'll always have a garden, So last year I had a garden, and I grew I guess it was a squash. It was green. It looked like a cucumber, but I said, no, it's too big for a cucumber. And it was like really huge, and I was getting ready to throw it away. What am I going to do with this? And my girlfriend was like, no, my son is cooking it up. So, I really would like to do more, to get in there, but I need to get gloves because my fingernails were dirty. But I think that's a good thing. I really do. And I really think that it's great that if we teach our children how to become self-sufficient and grow their own things, So, one thing that you cannot say that you cannot eat, because dirt is everywhere.
Absolutely.
So you can always grow something for yourself. And that's a knowledge that no one can take from you. That's somewhere you become self-sufficient in an area where you don't have to go to Kroger. You may go for a few items, but for your necessity, you'll
be able to eat.
Exactly.
Right? And that's important. Like, eating should be a human right. Like, eating is not something that should be a privilege.
Right.
Everyone should be able to feed themselves. Everyone should be able to drink water. Everyone should be able to have a roof over their heads. So,
that is so true.
Those are the things that, we have to start teaching the youth to be more self-sufficient, and it'll trickle down to the parents. It always does. Whatever they're bringing home,
I believe
it rubs off on us.
I believe I think of teach a man to give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he will eat for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing with teach a man to grow a garden.
Right.
Give him a cucumber, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to
right.
grow that cucumber,
and his family will eat too.
For real,
for generations. So
for real. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, if they wanted to purchase your book, if they wanted you to speak, for them, if they wanted you to mentor some young girls, some young boys, how do they contact you?
Well, you can reach me by phone. My number is 313-433-9882.
Okay.
313-433-9882. My book is available on Amazon at amazon.com/author Tawana Petty. That's Petty. And right now, for any purchase of my book, I donate $3 to Insorma Institute, which is an African Center Institute in Detroit. And they're trying to raise funds to keep the doors open. So for every purchase of my book, I donate $3 to Insorma. And so basically, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Author Tawana Petty. That's Tawana Petty. And so I can be reached that way.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Insorma. Where are they located?
Insorma is on Joanne Street.
Okay.
In Detroit, it's on the east side, and they teach the young people their accurate history of Black people, and they teach them to be proud, proud of who they are. They teach them how to grow food. They teach them how to dissect the media images, and it's an excellent school. And Elizabeth Whitaker is the director.
Okay.
Baba Malik Yakini founded it years ago, and he actually runs the D-Town Farm for Detroit Black Community Food Security Network. We have a lot of urban farms in Detroit. If you can, Google Earthworks, Google D-Town Farms, Google Feed 'em Freedom Growers, and you can get your own plots in some of these gardens, and they teach you how to grow your own food, and bring your youth to experience that.
Would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
That would be wonderful. So everybody, I know, again, with the way things are going in this city, you know, that is something that we should right now embrace our youth.
Absolutely.
You know, and we really need to surround our young people, you know, and be there for them and show them a different way, that in spite of the way things are looking right now, that, you know, there is hope, you know, in Detroit. There is hope, and that we can do great things. They need to see the adults come together in a way like we've never done before, because we will be leaving our city to them.
Absolutely.
You know? So we need to show them how to stand, you know, right now for such a time as this. It's time out for the bickering, this group or that group. You know, it is
all the silos come together.
It is time for a coming together, and I think that that's great, because you know, I mean, a few packs of seeds or whatever to teach them. I mean, they're going from the land to teach them how to grow, how to do something. That gives them something. There may not be a job that they can find, but they'll always be able to. They can, because see, I see them being able to take their fruit maybe and selling it somewhere.
Absolutely.
Being at Eastern Market, you know.
Who doesn't eat food?
Exactly. You know, so doing, you know, some really great things. So I'm, you know, again, my mother said, you know, I'm always saying,
I love it. Go ahead.
There's a first Sunday in every month and a poor wind that don't change. So I know for a fact, you know, that we see the wind blow each and every day, and we don't know which way it's coming from, you know. But the wind changes, and the change is coming, and it's blowing over this city, and it's going to be blowing, you know, your way, and it's going to blow my way. There's enough for you, and there's enough for me. But if we come together, lock arms, and really make things happen, you know, not talk about it, but be about it. For real.
That's right.
You know, things are going to change. It's coming, you know. So I really want to be a part of the change. And so, again, I extend my hand to you, you know, that if there's anything that I can do, you know, definitely let me know. I, you know, thank you for, you know, sending people my way when I talk about, you know, starting the organization Women in Power Crossing Path. You know, I love you. I truly, if nobody ever has said to you, thank you for all that you do, right now, I want to thank you for all that you do. I see you, you know, I see you in the, you know, for whatever people say to you. You know, don't, again, be weary in it. Continue to do what you're doing. Your son depends on you. You know, you did not get here because of what people said, but what God said.
Absolutely.
You know, so just keep, you know, just keep doing what it is that you do.
Thank you.
I truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
So, is there anything that you want to say before I wrap it up and we close?
I do want to, I want to give a little shout out to Young Educators Alliance. That's the organization that my son is a part of. William Copeland is the organizer, and Swatu is the youth organizer for that. And they have a Teach One, Feed One gentrification where they're workshop where they teach you how to put on a workshop. And it's going to be February the 16th. That's a Saturday from 1 to 4 at the Cass Corridor Commons, which is 4605 Cass Avenue. And it's very important. There's going to be locally grown food there. It's going to be an intergenerational dialogue. The young people facilitating, but all ages are welcome. And they put on some pretty deep discussions, and they lead by example. And I love to showcase those things. So,
well, February 16th, be there, be square. That's all. But again, thank you. I love you. I really appreciate it. From my beating heart to your beating heart, I love you. You understand?